Hello, welcome to Yin Yoga. And today we're just going to work on opening up and maybe release a little bit of anxiety. So today, at the time of this recording, is election day in Kentucky. And some people get anxious and nervous about that, regardless of who their party or candidate is for different and legit reasons. So it can be a nervous kind of time. So we'll do an anxiety reducing type of practice. Props today. If you've got a bolster cushion, I'm going to certainly recommend that you bring that in. If you don't have one of those, I've got a few blankets here that I've got folded up that I can show you ways that you can use them in place of a bolster if you don't have that. I'm also seated on a cushion. Blocks, we're going to use that today in one pose. If you don't have blocks, again, folded blankets are handy. I'm just folding your blanket this way. We'll simulate what the block will do. And then we will use a strap. You can also use a stretchy band here or any kind of belt at the end and just really do a nice restorative hip opening sequence with that. So let's go ahead and get started here. No, I'm going to leave my socks on, I think, because my feet are a little bit good. So sitting up nice and tall, ears, shoulders, and hips in alignment, zipping up here. Sit however it is that you need to sit to make yourself comfortable. I like crisscross applesauce. Some people like to sit back on the heels. Some people like legs straight forward. So whatever makes you comfortable is what I'm going to recommend. And as you settle in here, just start to breathe and notice for a moment if there's anywhere that you could soften just a little bit more in the body. Can you find a nice expansive breath? And we're going to get into a nice calming pranayama today, the breath work. So I'm going to encourage you, if you can, to bring in your ujjayi breath, that victorious back of the throat breathing. Just inhale, exhale, or inhale and exhale. What we're going to do is we're going to inhale and exhale for a count of 4. No retention in between. Just a nice, steady breath. So from here, let's take a big exhale to prepare. And inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, use ujjayi if you can. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Return to your normal breath. Let's take a big inhale and reach up. Reach, reach, reach. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands heart center. I gave you the intention of anxiety reduction today. We'll do some affirmations around that, but you can always set your intention of whatever it is that you want or need. Then from here, once you're ready, we'll inhale and reach. Exhale, take a side bend to your left. Over and reach. Breathe and expand. And I'm going to encourage you to use that ujjayi breath here too as we move through this practice. Coming up, go right into the other side. I cannot talk and do ujjayi at the same time, so you may not always hear me. And we'll come back up. Reach, reach, reach. Let's get a gentle rotation to the left. Bringing arms down, rolling shoulders back, looking a little bit more behind you. We're just preparing the spine and the body a little bit here for some deeper work. This kind of, the side bending and the twisting doesn't really seem like a whole lot, but it actually goes a really long way when we take our time to prepare before just jumping right into a pose. Especially for yin, when we tend to hold these for about a few moments. I should say more than a few minutes. It's going to be about 2.5 to 3 minutes on all of these today. Good, and we'll come up and come to center. Good, we'll bring that back down. Good, let's take a few cat-cows here. Now, I forgot my timer, so I'm gonna use my watch here to keep track of time. But we're gonna come onto all fours. So you can always cushion the knees or cushion the wrists as needed. And as you come to all fours, good. Just take a moment to spread the fingers wide, rooting through the knuckles of pinky, pointer, and thumb. Good. Knees are underneath the hips. They can be slightly wider if you've got a cranky back, and belly button is in. Pressing that floor away. Let's just take that chest forward, tipping the pelvis back, looking up. And exhale, pressing that floor away as we round, looking towards the thighs. Inhale. Find that nice cow pose. Exhale and round. One more time. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Good. Now from here, I'm just going to shift back a little bit. I'm going to shake out my wrist. We're going to come into a dangle. A dangle. So this is the one we're on our feet. So to get to your feet from here, and the way I get to my feet might not be the way that your body needs to get there. That's always okay to use blocks in here if you need help getting up and down. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come onto my toes here one at a time, using my blocks to assist me. Again, this might not be the best way for you. Move how your body needs you to move. And then from here, I'm just going to lift. My feet are hip width apart. I'm going to keep a little bend in the knees. And before we settle in, just get a little sway here. Let the head and neck be free. Good. And then I'm just going to pull my watch here. So we're going to do this one for about 2.5 minutes. And you can let everything dangle here if you'd like. You can grab opposite elbows. Some people like to stack blocks here in a way to where their head has a little bit of connection here. So feel free to operate how you need to. Good, and I'm just gonna take opposite elbows here. Good, 2.5 minutes from here. Keeping the knees bent. You're in the whole foot. And breathe. So the first affirmation I'll give you here is I am in charge of how I feel. I am in charge of how I feel. So if you don't like the way that you're feeling after this practice, go do something that makes you feel better. Is that calling somebody to talk? Is that going out for a lunch or a dinner? Is it watching a show or a movie that makes you feel happy? So for me, that's going to be Big Bang Theory as a TV show. From a movie standpoint, well, that can be anywhere between Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, anything like that. Breathe. Feel like you need to rest. Then it's okay to have a nap. I am in charge of how I feel. I am in charge of how I feel. You are in charge of how you feel. And I believe I forgot to say this in the beginning, but speaking of being in charge and things you can't control, keep in mind, I am just your guide for this practice. You are ultimately in charge of you and your body. So if something's not working for you, if you need to come out of something sooner than what I call for it, then take care of yourself. You're in charge of yourself. And make that change. Back off or come out completely. And then from here, when you're ready, if you took elbows, carefully release. Good. I'm just going to lengthen my legs a little bit here. My hands are on blocks of the floor and come into a nice bend. And we're going to do that one more time. And come into a nice bend. And then again, in the way that's best for your body, carefully come back down onto your knees. We're going to take this one into a child's pose. A child's pose. So I'm going to use my blocks here. I'm going to let my arms and elbows just kind of dangle here. So it's going to be a little bit of a hanging child's pose. If you don't have blocks today, sturdy cushion or pillows will work. You can also take a blanket that's kind of folded here, and you can fold that up. That's about the same width and thickness of a block, and then you can let your arms go over there. Folded blankets like that are also really nice if you tend to have sensitive skin or sensitive elbows here. So from here, I'm just going to pivot this out a little bit at an angle. Good. My knees can be together as wide as the mat or somewhere in between. And I'm going to take my knees as wide as the mat. And I'm just going to kind of settle down here. And we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. So careful not to come to your maximum place. You want to give your body space to ease into something and go a little bit deeper. We'll come right here for 3 minutes, starting now. My chest is not touching. If you feel like you need support under there, a folded blanket or a pillow, or even a third block if you've got one, we'll do nicely right here. So how about I am in charge of how I feel? How about I am in charge of how I react? I am in charge of how I react. So that's a big one, not just during election time, but in general. You are in charge of how you react. If you choose to yell at somebody, say something, say nothing. Your conduct online. You choose to read the comments or scroll on. You are in charge of how you react. You settle in if it's safe for you to come a little bit deeper in the pose. You let your body go there. You do it on an exhale. I am in charge of how I feel. I am in charge of how I react. Big breaths, use ujjayi when possible. So, elbows up on blocks. We want blankets too, but especially when blocks can get intense really quick. So if at any time that becomes too much, you can get rid of that as a prop and just do a regular child's pose. There's nothing wrong with that. Remember, you are in charge. One minute left. Charge of how you feel. Ready? The way that's best for your body. Carefully come out of there. Good. So I'm going to move my blocks to the side here. I'm going to come up from there and get just nice. Oh, a nice round cow position. Good. And then also, if it would feel good to some of you to just come down onto the belly and just get a nice little position here. And reverse corpse pose. For a moment, you can wiggle the hips. Just do something that counters what we did. You'll know when you find a good one because your body will feel like it's doing the opposite of what you just did. And if it feels good, do it. So for me right now, this feels good. Some people taking that deep mad cat pose might feel better. Then once you're ready, we'll come back. Okay, so we're gonna do a lateral side bend here. So we're gonna open up the side body. I'm gonna use a bolster cushion for that. Those of you that don't have a bolster cushion, just so that you see kind of how thick it is, you can use 2 or 3 folded blankets. If you're a taller person or a longer torso person, you might want something a little bit thicker for you, but you can do that same thing just by doing this, and then you're getting the same benefit as a bolster without the bolster with your blankets. So take it how you need to take it. Good. Now I'm going to use my bolster, but I want to go just a little bit differently today. So I'm going to have a folded blanket on top of my bolster. Also an option for some people. Good. So then from here, good, I'm going to scoot all the way up against whatever prop set that you're using. And then I'm going to side lie over here. Good. And come just like this. Your knees can be bent. They can be long. One leg can be bent, one leg can be long. It's all about how you feel and where you're getting the most here. So let me actually. Okay, so we're opening up this side. And I have a tendency to cough sometimes here. Our top arm can come over or rest here, it just kind of depends. And just reach. We'll be here for 3 minutes. There it goes. So a lot of people cough here. We hold a lot in this heart chakra region. That's just your body getting rid of something that's no longer serving it. So if you have a cough that comes up, let yourself cough, get it up, get it out. So I'm in charge of how I feel. I'm in charge of how I react. That I am resilient. I am resilient. Things change. You can choose to change with it or not, but I'm going to be resilient either way. Again, in charge of you. If you need to come out of here sooner, you can. If your head and neck get funny, you can always put a prop or 2 under there. if you need support. And this actually feels pretty good. So I'm gonna leave that block right there. I'm still getting this nice opening through here that I want. Breathing and resilient. I'm in charge of how I react. I'm in charge of how I feel. I think one of the reasons we kept putting up Christmas early on November 1st is because it completely shifts the mood. In my house, it makes for a more positive mood during a time that might not necessarily be so positive. So I think about that. I need to change how I feel. So a nice feeling to know that it's all done. Yeah. That's an intention. Here the way that's best for you. So for me, I'm going to take my top hand to the top of this bolster and help push myself up. I'm going to do that nice and slow. You don't want to jerk up from here because then you run the risk of getting dizzy or something like that. So nice and gentle. And then when you're ready, you can just shift this over to the other side. I'm just going to scoot down a little bit here. Bring this in. Up against whatever props it is you're using for the supported side bend. And whenever you're ready, we're just going to come over there. Top arm can come along, wherever it is it needs to be. Top arm can come along over the top. Ooh. And breathe. Knees can be bent. One leg can be long, one leg can be bent, or both legs can be long. Choose what feels good to your body. Inhale peace and exhale worry. Inhale peace and exhale worry. Knew it was coming somewhere. I used to only cough on both or one side. Now I cough on both sides. Just go back to that equal breath, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 4, with or without your Ujjayi pranayama. Stay there 1 more minute. Hand's going to come to a place where it can help you slowly come up. Slowly come up. Sit there for a moment if you need to. While you're here, we're going to set up for our next pose, which is going to be a wide-legged forward fold, a seated wide-legged forward fold. So for this one today, I am going to sit up on a not the bolster, a folded blanket. I am done with my bolster for the most part, so I'm just going to move that out of the way. Now you can always use a bolster if needed to kind of fill in the space as you fold. Here. And being mindful too, as you take your legs wide, you want to not come at your widest possible. So for example, here's my widest possible, but I'm going to come in just a little bit because I want to give my body space to open as it opens up. Now sitting up on this blanket, I'm just going to move the flesh out of the way. And I'm coming into an anterior tilt of the pelvis, meaning my frontal hip bones are tilting forward and my tailbone is tipping back. Okay, so from here, toes, knees, and hips are facing the ceiling. Big inhale and reach, flat back, hinging from the hips. And right before you come to your edge, then take your hands down. They can be in the floor, they can be on your legs, your toes, what have you. And then just allow the body to gradually sink in here. So 3 minutes here if you can. Big breaths. Also okay on this one to have the knees a little bent or to have any support up underneath there if you need that. So I am in charge of how I feel. In charge of how I react. Resilient. Inhale peace. I exhale worry. What about this big one? I release worst case scenario thinking. I release worst case scenario thinking. How many times has worst case scenario actually happened for you? Maybe sometimes it has, but most of the time, probably not. So I release worst case scenario thinking. Count, inhale, 4 count, exhale. But at the end of the day, just breathe. That's the most important thing. Worst way to breathe is not breathing at all. As you sink deeper, you can always fill in the space for support if you need that. In a minute. Be mindful when you do this pose, not just here, but in any other types of yoga. When you fold, that your toes, knees, and hips don't fold in with you. Want to keep them towards the ceiling. It's just a hinge or a fold from the hip. Keeping the spine as long as possible. These worst case scenario thinking. You're ready from where you went. Carefully come up. Carefully walk that. Now, we are going to take a twist here. We're going to do a shoelace version so we can get into shoulders and hips at the same time. So I'm going to take my peace fingers here and just come behind my knees and just kind of pull that in. Different things for different people. Those of you that need a half shoelace today, you're going to start with your left leg coming long. Good. And your right leg can cross over. It can lay here or it can be up. Do what you need to do. And that's a nice half shoelace for the legs. If you want to do the full shoelace, then from here, I'm just going to lift this knee up a little bit. Then your bottom leg can come in here. Good. And ideally, you want the knees to be in alignment. Here's my left knee, here's my right knee. As you can see, they are not in the alignment, they're separated. So you do what you can and you don't worry about the rest. It tends to be a bad idea when we force our bodies into alignment that it's not yet ready for. So once you've found where you're going to take your shoelace with the legs, take your arms out to the side. I've got my right leg on top, so I'm going to take my right arm on top. So right arm on top, you can hug yourself or you can wrap here. And whether you're hugging yourself or wrapping, kind of lift up just a little bit, kind of find that sweet spot. It's a nice little stretch. And just kind of find what you need. And we'll be here for about 3 minutes as well. So usually here it's not so much the hips as it is the shoulders that need the break. So if you need that, you can take that. At about the last minute, I will give you an opportunity to fold in if you want that. Nice big breaths. So I am in charge of how I feel. I am in charge of how I react. Nobody makes you react a certain way. You are in charge of you. I am resilient. I inhale peace and exhale worry. I release worst case scenario thinking. I release worst case scenario thinking. This feeling is temporary. This feeling is temporary. Up on the last minute and a half, you have options. If you need to undo the arms, undo the arms. If you want to take a fold, take that fold. Folding is always optional here. Find your breath. Turn to your intention. Charge, so back off. Or if you took a fold, we'll carefully come out of that fold. We'll undo the arms if you're still wrapped, shake that out. And then we'll undo the legs if you're still there. So from here, I'm just gonna turn to the side. I'm gonna come off my blanket to do so. I'm gonna do just a little bit of a windshield wiper. Just take your legs long here first. Though. You need to pat some feet out. Take care of yourself and do that. Otherwise, bending the knees, legs and feet are about hip width apart. Take your hands behind you. Get nice long spine here. Belly button is in. And just get a nice windshield wiper from side to side. Operate and move at your body's range of motion. So you might be more range of motion than me right now. You might be less, that's okay. And then once you're ready, we're going to take our shoelace to the other side. So I'm gonna come back and sit up on my blanket. So remember, those of you that are doing half shoelace now on this side, your right leg can come long in front of you. Good. Your left leg is gonna come up and cross over. It can be up like this, or you can kind of have it lay down to the side. You decide what you need. Maybe the full shoelace and the left leg is gonna come in. Good. This is my harder side here. Good. So then from here, my left leg is on top. So my arms are gonna come out. It will be my left arm on top this time. You can hug yourself. You can wrap yourself. Good. Find it where you need it. We'll do 3 minutes from right here. Deep breaths. Turning to our intentions. Which may or may not be reducing anxiety. Remember, I'm a guide, but even when it comes to intention setting, you are in charge of that too. In charge of how I feel. I'm in charge of how I react. Resilient. Inhale peace. And exhale worry. And release worst case scenario thinking. I release worst case scenario thinking. It's temporary. I release control over what I cannot change. I release control over what I cannot change. So you can stay right here. You can undo something. You can take a fold in. Find it where you need it. control over what I cannot change. Focus on what I can control. Focus on what I can control. If you're ready, if you took the fold, you carefully come out of the fold, carefully undo, shake out the arms if you need to do that. Good, we'll undo the legs. Again, you can take that nice little windshield wiper here if we need to do that. And once you're ready, we're gonna come onto our backs. We're gonna come onto our backs. And if you like to have a pillow or a folded blanket back there for a neck cushion, go ahead and bring that in. So I'm gonna bring mine in to just that. As I come down here, watch. Grab your strap. Once you get settled down in here, we're just gonna do one little thing here. So this is gonna give us our twist. So we're gonna take, I'm gonna start with the right leg into the foot. Good. And let's just kind of work this out just a little bit here. So holding on to each piece, your other leg can be bent or long, depending on how your back feels. And just take some nice little circles here. Good. And then let's reverse that. Then from here, when you're ready, both straps are going to come into the left. Good. And we're just going to arc over. Now, there might be some of you that don't want or need a twist here, just because you want this nice arc over stretch. But those of you that want to move into that full twist can do so here. So I'm going to take this over. You want to try to move out here. You want to try to keep that leg in line with the hip. So you can always prop something under there if you need it. Breathe and expand. Try to keep that other shoulder grounded. Maybe looking to the other side. Shift my hips back here. Scoot over more to the other side so I've got room. Good. And then from here, once you're ready, you can come into a nice little midair switcheroo. So your other leg can be long or bent. We'll take this into some circles here. You can reverse. And from here, good. Both straps into the right hand. Good. You can find your arc over and stay there if you'd like, or take it over into full twist, keeping leg in line with the hip, putting a prop under there if you need to, left shoulder grounded, maybe looking to the left. From here, you can remove that foot from the strap. You can put that strap to the side. And we're going to set up for our Shavasana here. So as you come into your Shavasana using whatever it is that you need or want, getting comfortable so we're not fidgeting around. When we're fidgeting around, we're not releasing anxiety. We're building on that. So try to kind of come to where you're nice and comfy. And then the last thought I'll give you here is I free myself from fear of the unknown. I free myself from fear of the unknown. And as you're here, I'm going to guide you through a little bit of breath before we part. So take a big exhale. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Choose this. Toes. Choose the chest. Choosing to keep the upper body grounded, or maybe you want to tuck the chin, lifting the chest, coming into a full body hug. And choosing stillness, removing any props out of the way if you used any during your Shavasana time. Taking arms long in front of you, knees or legs long in front of you, arms long behind you. Reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes, pointing and flexing through the feet, bending and stretching through the hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. From here, when you're ready, bending in both knees, and you choose rolling over to the right or left side, the side that works best for you in this moment, taking all the time that you need here. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you, where we started our practice. Noticing how you feel, hopefully a little bit more calm, a little bit less anxious. Palms to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 looking up, touching palms together. Exhale as you bring those hands down, stopping the thumbs with the forehead for good and true thoughts. To the lips for good and kind thoughts. And to the heart for open and loving hearts. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted. No gain is ever reversed. May you be safe. May you stay well. May you find calm and peace and less anxiety today and every day. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.